My name is Multiplier and I am a robot. Not really. What I am is going to recommend With Wyatt, podcast you can listen to that will improve your life as a music producer or DJ and/or DJ.
Podcast number 1 is the EDM Prodcast. This thing is amazing. I actually listen to it every single week, especially when I'm doing dishes. This thing is incredible. It's from Sam Matla, who's a dear friend. He's about to get married. Way to go, Sam. But he brings on artists. Here, I'll pull it up right now. He brings on artists like AU5, Said the Sky, Bonnie and Clyde. I think literally all of those just rhymed. That was amazing.
I think Multiplier was on early on. Just
Yeah. Multiplier was on there. Anywhere from music production to talking about what struggles that people went through, to how they got to start in their career and everything. So I highly encourage you to check that out.
Well, I suppose I don't have a favorite, but one of my favorites would be Pensado's place. He's definitely won at least one Grammy. So he's basically one of the best mixers in the world. Talks about music production things, well, in fact, pretty much everything from songwriting to mastering, engineering, but all at like the very highest level, which is one of my favorite things about it. In fact, it's probably one of the only places I know about for like the most highest level conceptual stuff. He's had literally pretty much anyone who's anyone in the pop music world. In the EDM space, Showtek was on. Steve Duda was on. That was a really good episode. And a few ghostwriters and ghost engineers.
Piggybacking off of that, Ian Shepherd has The Mastering Show, which is a really, 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 really good podcast about, you guessed it, mastering. What is loudness? Mastering audio for games. Clipping, what is it? And is it ever acceptable? Distortion, which, it's clipping. Vinyl. Not mastering. What happens when you don't master? So on and so forth. EQ, compression, limiting. It's really, really good, especially, if you're going for a run and you want to know more about mastering, what it is, the concept of the conceptual part of it. Dude, this is a great show. And he's British, and all the best people are British, right, Adam?
David Attenborough, he's a fantastic British person. The Queen. Probably other British people as well.
You guys have a queen. That's so cool.
She's really into she actually ghost produces for who's it? Probably everyone. I reckon probably. I reckon she's like Diplo. She kind of touches every track, even though she's not like the main person. That'd be what I reckon. Keeping it in the theme of actual like music production specific ones. It's a podcast called Producing Out Loud from Pure Mind. I'm not sure if you've seen that before. I haven't listened to all the episodes. I probably should listen to more of them, but the ones I have dipped into are really, really good. So they normally have a few people on at once. It's called Producing Out Loud from Pure Mind, which is really good.
Self-promotion right now. There's this new podcast out that I've heard about from Multiplier and Wyatt called Behind the DAW, which is a companion podcast to In the DAW, where we invite artists to open up emotionally, philosophically, and artistically. And it's been really, really amazing. We've had incredible episodes. Some of the really, really noteworthy ones were from AU5, Diamond Eyes. This last week, one was with Clock Vice. It was really, really, really good. If you really want to see these people as people and get inside their head and their emotions, I highly encourage you to do this. And plus, we include a condensed and bounced version of In the DAW. But I still highly encourage you to check out the YouTube channel because just seeing it in real time is really nice.
Another music production-y one is the new audio podcast from Isotope. It's not all EDM or kind of dance music specific, but they do get some good guests on. I should have probably written down my favorite episodes, but what you can do is just flick through and just like jazz, do an improv, just kind of choose one at random and hope for the best, I reckon.
The next one for you it's called the DIY Musician Podcast. It's put on by CD Baby. It's actually really, really good, really quick. This is a nice little hack. So CD Baby puts on a conference every year for like the last 3 years called the DIY Musician Conference. But so you can either pay a lot to fly out there and to go to it, or you can get the free podcast and get it all right here. It's actually really, 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 really amazing. There's lots of good, like literally everything from social media marketing to where's streaming going to how to get in contact with labels to how to build a relationship with blogs. To it's everything. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah, grabbing on the marketing thing. So there's an awful lot of probably tens of thousands of like internet marketing podcasts out there because it's almost like if you're an internet marketer, that means you should be doing a podcast, or it feels like everyone in the online marketing space almost has a podcast. By far my favorite would be the one from GaryVee called, we keep changing the name of it, but now it's the GaryVee Audio Experience. And he's a little bit hit and miss in actually uploading everything on time. But he's kind of, if you're almost going to go to only one place, I kind of trust GaryVee more than pretty much anyone else. If you just kind of look at it in terms of motivations and stuff, he doesn't even have to do the podcast. Like he's literally just doing it because he wants to put out the information, unlike some of the other podcasts, which are more marketing for their own products. If you just search GaryVee, you'll probably find it. He also has a YouTube channel, which is really good, like literally daily content. So yeah, that tends to be my main resource for marketing and stuff, and like so it's like social media marketing, and also just kind of general life advice and stuff as well every now and then. So it's good.
Piggybacking off that, here's the daily double for you guys. There's 2 podcasts in one. So it has to do with marketing, but more specifically social media marketing. There's one called the Social Media Marketing Podcast. And then the other one is the Social Media Marketing Talk Show. Both of them are by Michael Stelzner, I think is how you say it. Both of them are really, really good. One of them, I can't remember which one. Sorry, guys. You're going to have to go figure that out. One of them focuses on explaining what social media... Whoa!
Miles with trousers. Catchphrase, yeah.
My doctor sister wants to get a hold of me. Sorry, doctor sister. I resent you for being a doctor. Okay, back to the show. I'm kidding. I love my sister. But so one of them talks about like the actual theory of social media. Why is it important? What you can do? Where some success stories. One of them that just really quick. One of them that was really, really cool is it talks about a dental place in the middle of Jamaica that got on social media marketing and their profits went up like 3,000%. Like it was insane. And then the other podcast talks about the updates in social media, what's going on with the algorithms, what are some new tools that you can use, so on and so forth. It's really, really, really good stuff.
One that isn't really a podcast anymore, but I reckon if we all subscribe to it, maybe they'll start it up again. It's the Sound on Sound one. Because it's such a, I mean, it's very not electronic music focused, but it's one of the most advanced resources pretty much out there for music, Sound on Sound. And I kind of want them to start the podcast up again. So maybe if we all form a giant army of people requesting it, they'll do it in like one more episode. Oh, I suppose kind of YouTube related, because I do get quite a few people asking. There's one called Video Creators from Tim Schmoyer. That's pretty good. And also one called YouTube Creators Hub, which I was actually on, YouTube Creators Hub. In fact, YouTube Creators Hub is probably fractionally better. But yes, if anyone is into starting a YouTube channel, you pretty much got to check out these things, because YouTube, in fact, like most platforms, is changing all the time. So it's all well and good knowing what worked a year ago, but it probably doesn't work anymore. So it's really good just to kind of keep up to date with that side of things. Because you don't have to listen to all of them as well. You can just, whenever like a new kind of platform mechanic comes out, you can check it out.
2 different podcasts for you that have to deal with dissecting things, and specifically music. So one of them is the one that everyone knows. It's called Song Exploder, which is, everyone knows it because it's really good. It really is. Now, it is... for the most part, relatively basic as far as like music production goes. So if you're a newcomer, it's amazing, because then you start to get familiar with the terms and processes. So, but it's really, really good that way. They have some of the biggest people in the world coming through, but it is kind of basic. So if you want something a little bit more deep, I heard In the DAW is pretty cool. So I would highly encourage you to check that out. And then the other one is Sodajerker On Songwriting. Now that is a title, and that is a very, very, very good podcast. So basically it dissects people's songwriting. A lot of the names on there I didn't recognize, but that doesn't really mean much. The concepts are still really, really amazing, and I'd highly encourage anyone to check it out.
And yeah, there's one here, I think probably maybe similar, called Breaking Down the Business. I haven't actually listened to any of the episodes, so maybe they haven't released any in a while. I subscribe to it, but I don't think I see any new ones. So I should probably really dive into that. I can't remember who recommended it. Was it Kyle maybe?
Probably Kyle.
Possibly. Probably Kyle, yeah. So yeah, Breaking Down the Business. I remember when I flicked through it the first time, it looked exciting, but I just didn't press any of the buttons.
Perfect. Speaking about business, here's one for you right now. It's called Music Business Facts with Rodney Holder. I think this guy is Australian, and anything Australians touch turns to gold. And so I highly encourage you to check that out. Also, the Musician Monster podcast, Music Business for Musicians, is really, really, really good as well. Guys, you need to get your feet wet in music business. You need to. I'm sorry,
Or find someone who likes that.
Exactly.
Which is really difficult, because not many people are that into it. Another music production one. It's called Double Frequency. Rumor has it multiplies it in that one as well.
That on the streets.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's kind of me and a guy called Unders, real name Scott, I think. He's also from England, like the Queen, but he's from up north, I think, whereas the Queen's from down south. So it's called Double Frequency, and it's basically, we don't really plan it too much, but we always kind of center around one like thing. Normally, so it could be sample packs, or it could be mastering, or it could be workflow and other things. Yeah, these are the episodes using editing. That's pretty good.
Stepping a little bit away from music, depending. This is hit and miss depending on what what episode you watch. Sometimes it's about music, sometimes it's not. But it is TED Talks Daily. TED Talks are absolutely incredible, literally from the best public speakers in the entire world. And so now you get it on a nice little podcast format. And there's a lot of good information, that can translate to music, depending on how creative you are. So I'd highly encourage you to check that out to become a very well-rounded person.
Yeah, and kind of similarly, 2 podcasts on the well-rounded person vibe. The Tim Ferriss Show. It's one of the most, well, in fact, 3. So the Tim Ferriss Show, the Joe Rogan podcast, or the Joe Rogan Experience, I think he calls it. And then also Triangulation. It's basically literally some of the best people in the world across any industry. Gets interviewed by people who are the best in the world interviewing. So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, Tim Ferriss Show, Joe Rogan, their podcast show Experience, and something called Triangulation from the Twit Network.
These are arguably the most important ones that have been beneficial to my life that is translated to everywhere. Number 1 is respectful parenting. I am a parent. Are you a parent? I've never asked you.
No.
Okay.
No. I want to get like a little dog, but or go into a big one. I want to go there. Here's a picture of it. They're called Newfoundlands. They look like bears. They're like bigger than people if they stood up. So that's the extent of my future parenting skills.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. For those of you who are parents out there, this one is really, really good. Talks about just like, I don't know, like breaks down the myths, like is timeout a good thing? Or like if your kid gets upset, should you be like, it's okay? Or should you be like, gosh, dang it, go to your room kind of a thing. It's really, really good. And then the other one I have, doesn't matter what religion you are. It's a very, very good spiritual podcast. It's called Mormon Channel Daily. Talks about, it's really good just for like self-growth, self-improvement kind of stuff. It does dabble into spirituality a little bit, but more so just like, it's one of those feel-good podcasts. And sometimes you just need a feel-good podcast to plot twist, feel good. So, yeah.
And yeah, pretty much going to the exact opposite end of the spectrum, almost like a wild card, this podcast, because it's definitely extremely hit or miss. More miss than hit. There's a podcast called No Jumper. So if you're into underground hip hop, you may have heard it because it's a guy called Adam22. I think Adam22 interviews mostly underground hip hop guys. So it's kind of interesting to get a different perspective on the different part of the music world. And then every now and then you get someone really big on. There's a really good one with Borgor, a really good one with Getter, and also Dylan Francis maybe. So yeah, probably best to start with those actually. Yeah, in fact, yeah, definitely start with those. They're good. And then also you keep scrolling through and then pick ones you recognize the name of the person and then kind of work backwards through the list of underground guys. Because most underground hip hop guys are the worst interview guests in the history of all of just media content consumption. Even though Adam's pretty good at interviewing. So yeah, don't pick all the underground guys. Try and pick the big guys.
I just thought about one. I don't know what it's called. Maybe you know about it, but it's like, it's a podcast design where like there's not really a host. They get 2 artists together and have them talk and then they just record the conversation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope. Sounds good though.
So it's like 2 artists from 2 completely different genres. They put them in a room, put a microphone with them, and then just like let them. It's actually really, really.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, one last suggestion for you guys. Not necessarily a podcast, but an app. The podcast app that iTunes gives, or sorry, the Apple gives you, kind of sucks.
Majorly. Yeah.
And so you tell me about this, Adam. Overcast. Overcast is great.
Okay. I use Castro 2 now. I was using Castro 1. So yeah, that's another one to check out. Because yeah, the iTunes one or the Apple one's pretty horrific.
Yeah, man.
So yeah. But yeah, certainly Overcast is probably more well known than Castro. But Castro 2 is another option.
Do you like Castro 2?
Yeah, it's got more power user features because I literally spend at least 90 minutes a day listening to podcasts, if not like 2 or 3 or 4 hours some days. So yeah, it's a much better for power users. So maybe if you're new to podcasting, there could be simpler options. Maybe I haven't used Overcast, but I have heard really good things about it. One of the things I really like about the new Castro 2 app is you can almost like prioritize podcasts. So if you like me and you subscribe to like 50 or 60, but there's maybe like 10 you always want to listen to when they come out, and like maybe 40 you don't care about as much, you can like prioritize them. So you get almost like an inbox in like a sorted order. So when like you refresh it and there's like 20 new ones, all the ones you really like get propagated to the top in a correct order, which I find is really good. Otherwise, every day you have to kind of scroll through loads and loads of podcasts to see what jumps out at you.
This has been fantastic. Again, if you guys want to check out Behind the DAW.
Fantastic artwork, I reckon. Yeah, on screen now.
Perfect, dude.